Okay, we're back on YouTube for another lesson of high value English. This is number 25. We've already come so far. And this is a topic that usually I break into two separate lessons, but we're going to try to do them both in one lesson. This is the word how, which is pretty tricky for my students, especially when listening, because there are two styles. I'm going to say style number one and style number two. And when you're listening, you have to quickly understand which how is being used, in this dialogue or in this conversation. So again, I usually separate them, but I think because we have all the time we can take with YouTube videos, so let's just do both of them in one lesson. So let's go with the first style here. I call this one how, meaning the way or the method. So the way to do something or the recipe or the method. We need examples. So let's say a question like, how do you go to school? This is a very typical textbook question. First word how, then do because it's a question, and then the main verb go. Okay, so the answer here, something like I go, we'll say this is the question. It's the answer, I go by bus or train or bicycle. Okay. So that's asking, by what way or what is your method of going to school? Another one here, like, how do you cook scrambled eggs? Okay, so now that's a little bit more complicated. This is asking for really the recipe or start to finish of the way to cook. How do you cook? So something like, first, crack open 2 eggs and mix them together with some milk. Then add it all to a frying pan with butter and stir until scrambled. All right, so this question you would not you probably would not see in a textbook because it's too complicated. Okay, so yeah, this is very simple. How do you go? Train, bus, bicycle. And even more complicated, you could say, how do you study English? Like, well, that's a good question. There's many different ways. I try to read the newspaper every day and memorize new vocabulary, and I also have a conversation partner who I speak to 3 times a week. Okay, so yeah, really it gets pretty complicated, this how. But each one, how do, and then you, talking to you, the main verb go, how do, and then cook, how do, and then you study. Okay, so each one of these is asking the way, or sometimes just answer me, train, bus, bicycle, or sometimes explain from start to finish, how do you arrive at the final version of scrambled eggs, or kind of please tell me some advice. How do you study English? So explain your study habit or study practice. Okay, so that's the first style. And I'll give even some examples here. You might hear, my father showed me how to fix my bicycle. Okay, so this is not a question, but this how, what it means is, the way, the method to fix, how to fix. Okay. Or maybe I'd like to learn how to play the guitar. Okay, so again, how to play means, yeah, the method. Okay, and how about, let's say, I wish my teacher would show me how to do this math problem. Okay, move this down. Say how to do. All right, so in this case too, these are not questions, but yeah, the way of this math problem. Okay, so that's, but I think you should mainly just focus on this question. We're going to just focus on the question part. How do you study? Okay, or how do you cook? Okay, so that's enough probably for that one for now. So let's go now to style number 2. So this one's called how, and it meaning the level. So the level of something. It could be the level of an adjective or adverb. Could be high or low, few or many, small or big. So what is the level of this adjective or adverb? Let's do some examples, of course. So let's say a question like, how big is Tokyo? Okay, so now suddenly you have this word here. How big is Tokyo? So this wants this, the size, right? The size of it. So an answer like, oh, it is the biggest city in Japan, or it is huge and has so many people, right? Help me to understand the size of it. Used to be a small fishing town, but it became the nation's capital. So very small and then very big. Okay, or how about let's see, how many, let's see, no, let's save that. Let's see, how cold is Scotland, right? So this is more about the temperature. What's the level of coldness there? Whatever. Oh, it's unbelievably cold in winter. Let's say, yeah, it's colder than England, right? Or it is it's cold, but I love it there, right? So all different kinds of answers to help me understand, what is the level, the temperature, or the coldness there. I'll try one more. Let's see, how many people are in your family? So this is more easy because you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. So how many people? Yep, answer like, oh, there are 5 people. My family. Okay, so now let's pause here. So you'll notice here that it's how plus a word, how plus cold, how plus many, or how plus many people in this one. Okay. So also notice these are all adjectives. So you have is, meaning Tokyo's size equals what? Or Scotland's temperature equals what? So these are all using the verb, to be, or, be. In this case, they're all third person. Is. Or in this case, it's plural. So people are. Okay. So that is kind of how I explain to students here. So this one, it's kind of how plus X or something. And that one equals the level of something. So that's your first hint when you're listening. How blah blah is. Oh, so that they want to know the level of whatever that x is. All right. So let's try now. Let's do some adverb. And the most common one is how often. Okay, so that's about the timing of something. Every day, sometimes, rarely, whatever. How often do you go to the gym? Okay, so this is the level of regularity. Right? That's a new word there. Answer might be I go every morning. Okay, or I sometimes go, but I should go more. Okay, or I hardly ever go, when that means almost zero. Okay, so how often, and again here, so how often do you go? Now it gets more tricky because you have that the do is back. Okay, so you've got with adverbs how plus x, and then you've got do, often do if it's do you, or it could be does, but we'll say it's just do. Okay, so if you take this out, how do you go to the gym? So now that's where you have to listen. You have to understand, which how is it? How do or how something, how adverb do. So now this is about the way. Okay, so now this answer would be, I take the train in the morning, or I ride my bike. Okay, so I think, that's where we should slow down and realize that with adverbs, we have, again, the do comes back, and then, in this case, it's often. Oh, now we're back to regularity. Okay, there we go, back. All right, we'll do more. Okay. Let's say question. How easily do you learn new words, or no, say new vocabulary? Okay, so this kind of answer, is it, so this asks in the level of ease. What is the easiness, or ease, or difficulty? Say, it takes me, about maybe 30 minutes to memorize new words. So it takes this much time. Or, it's very difficult because I often forget them immediately. Or it's no problem. One time is enough for me. So one time listen and I got it. Okay. So again, this is about the answers about the ease. Is it very easy? Is it difficult? Is it not easy? Not difficult? Well, explain to me, the level of difficulty you have. But again, if that word is gone, how do you learn? All right. How easily do you learn? How do you learn? Now this is, again, what is your study method or habit? So what's this one? How do you learn? I use my smartphone and a dictionary. Okay, I use an app. Or I write my own original sentences. Okay, study method, habit, or the way. Okay, so I guess, that's what I try to teach my students, that there's again, this one is just how only, and then do means, this is the way or method. And in the other case, how plus X, it could be an adjective or an adverb. And then we go do is asking the level of something. Okay. And when it comes to listening, I think it's pretty tricky to hear once and immediately understand which one are you asking. Okay. Let's just do another one. Okay, we'll take this down to here. Start another one. Say question. Let's see. Is there another one? Let's see. Yeah, how luxuriously do you travel? So what's your luxury level? Right? Very expensive, very, what's the luxury level? Answer is like, oh, I only fly first class. So very super expensive plane tickets or whatever tickets. I must stay in a 5-star hotel. So yeah, very luxury again, or luxuriously. I order room service every time I stay at a hotel. So that means food comes to your door and it's super expensive. Okay. So again, but if this word's gone, how do you travel? Oh, that's what you're asking? Okay, now what is your travel method? What's the travel way? So now it's totally different. Right? I travel by plane. Okay. But I prefer trains. Okay. I like to drive even though it takes much longer. Okay, so yeah, the 3 examples there just to show you that, yeah, it's pretty tough to quickly hear one time which is it. But you have to practice. You have to train making your own originals and then training your ear. Okay, now there's 2 that are actually special cases. Let's say special cases here. And questions like, how are you? Like, why is that? How are you? Why is that asking? Why is that like a greeting? And I think it's because this is, it is asking the level, but I'm going to say that over time, I don't know if this is true or not. This is just my theory. It's my theory, which means it's true or not. I don't know. But in the old times, they said, how good are you? Good, bad, okay, very good, amazing. But because they say it every day, maybe it just became, how are you? Right? How are you? Maybe. Okay. So say, how good are you? Then it means you're asking the goodness level. Right? Because the answer is always, I'm fine. Great. Or I'm not doing so well because I'm sick, for example. Okay. Other ones, how is your family? Right? Same thing. How good is? Or how was your vacation? Or how were your test scores? Okay, so yeah, in each case, a good is an adjective, so it means you equal, good, bad, very good, or your family equals, family equals good. Right? That kind of idea. That's what this verb is, the equal sign. Your vacation good, bad, how was it? How was it? How were your test scores? Because that's a plural one, so it has to be were, and it's past tense. Past tense plural. How were your test scores? Okay, so that's kind of special case number one is, yeah, how good. And the other one that we say, which yeah, we don't really explain in a textbook, is the question is how much? How much were your shoes? Okay. So again, this one too is asking the level, but of what? We know a textbook, it's about money. So I think, yeah, that's what we're missing here. How much money were your shoes? But in the old days, in the old times, every day, how much? You're buying your food or whatever every day, that it was shortened down to how much for this, these shoes or whatever. Okay, so this is kind of this is my theory. I don't know if it's true or not. Okay, how much were your shoes? How much for this sandwich? How much money? How much is one night at this hotel? Right. So each one is how much money. Okay. So again, that's basically it. Two special cases. How good and then how much. Those are the two kind of unusual ones. Okay, so let's see if I can wrap it up. We'll say style one is just how, and then we go straight to the do. Okay, so how do you cook dinner? Or how does your company find new customers? Or let's say how should I fix my computer? Okay, so if it's just how something, or in this case do, we'll put other ones too. How should or can or whatever. Right, so this one means the method or the way. All right, and then number two is how plus something else, some other word there, and then we go to usually do or is. Yeah, so that's why we spent more time on this second one. For example, how often, how fast is your new car? Okay, so this is the adjective version here. Or let's see, how expensive is your new apartment? Okay, that's an easy one, because this one also means a money level, so it's easy to find the level. And then how let's see, yeah, how fast, how many people came to your birthday party? Okay, yeah, so I wish it was more simple, but it could just be how plus something. It depends if it's an adjective or an adverb. And then the following part could be do or is, or in this case, how many people came, is, fast is. Let's see, how often do you watch TV? Okay, so, yep, there's so many different options or variations for this second style that, you really have to just practice making your own for the sake of listening. But that's your first hint, is that the first style is just how, and then into the verb. This one is how plus something else into the verb, except for the two, which are how good, what I say, how good, and then also, how much, that means money. Okay, so these are kind of these are also the money level or good level. Okay, even though this one is just how, and then straight to the are, or how is. Okay, but both of them are about the level. So hopefully, yeah, the first style is not, I guess it's not too bad, but the second style is pretty crazy. And yeah, they're both how. So I recommend, take it slow, take your time, make your own originals, and then ask a friend or a teacher, or you can leave it in a comment below and I'll help you with it. All right, and we'll see you in the next video.